Four kids? Question mark. This is an interesting topic, and we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Um, but the big reason that we want to dial back into this now is we've been in this big Yu-Gi-Oh kick, and it's one of the most infamously like edited by four kids lately. From the covering of cleavage to finger pews and all that shit. We're not at the minute mark, so I don't want to say that word to kill this video.
And everyone's favorite weapon that can destroy Thanos with his Infinity Gauntlet, the hammer gun.
Oh god. Yeah, like that's the thing, right? Like we've had finger guns, we've had like the hammer gun, the sucker for instead of a cigarette. There's all sorts of dumb edits that they've done. But my favorite dumb thing that they ever did was just the elimination of any real religion early on in Yu-Gi-Oh! But then they dialed back on that shit really, really hard, because you would hear like mentions of hell, a fictional place in a fictional book, depending on what religion you believe in. And then they're like, but we can't call it that, it's the graveyard or the shadow realm, only to just change it like 2-3 episodes later. There was no semblance of like standards in any of their kind of editing. But God forbid if you show above like the top of the cleavage on a monster.
Yeah, I think it's like people are thinking like, oh, a kid's gonna see the same thing of what an adult is seeing.
Right. And that's like.
But here's the thing that does not make any sense whatsoever. Women are seen in bathing suits all the time when they go to a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that
different than like armor on Dark Magician Girl or a
or
top
Harpy
on?
Ladies.
Yeah, exactly. It's our perverted mind more here in the Western audience when it comes to booby means sex, therefore can't show the kid, even though it's just fucking anatomy.
It's like, oh, this boob armor has spikes on it. Ooh, scary. Let's remove it. Ooh.
Actually, I think that would be kind of scary.
Yeah, that's a little different. So why there's a webcam on here is recently we kind of partnered up with Kill the Crooks, and because I'm going to take my webcam down because it looks fucking stupid on this. It's a anime-inspired streetwear company. Kind of reach out to them like, hey, I'd love to kind of dive into all of this with you. So we have a discount code. It'll be in the description of this video if you want to go and check out their new drop. Right now I'm wearing their Goons drop hat. I'm not putting the hoodie on. It's 100 degrees in my apartment right now because the AC here sucks. So yeah, all of it. I've got pictures up on our Twitter and my personal Twitter as well if you want to take a look at the hoodie. All of their stuff is really well made. It's super high quality. It's not that drop ship bullshit that you get from most like internet anime clothing companies, which is why I'm particular, very, very, very fucking particular when it comes to clothes. And they're not the first company that I've approached to be like in a partnership with. And I've said no based just directly on the quality of clothes. So if I'm pushing it as something that we actually like, I'm going to say it's actually quality, and I will stay in a partnership with them. And but you'll get 15% off your order with our code. Hoodies are usually around $60-$70. T-shirts around $30-$40. The hat was $20. And I'm really, really happy with the quality of the hat, even though I'm not the biggest hat guy. So go check them out. Anyway, I'm going to turn the webcam off because I'm dripping sweat in it, and it looks like shit. So, yeah. Boop. Anyway, back to four kids. I want to get that out of the way. I didn't want to front load the video because I hate when somebody opens up directly there with that. But I also kind of like did want to honor the addery too.
Yeah. Now, I'm just gonna say, to be fair, on 4Kids' part, they did do some good.
Oh, yeah.
As much as it might be hard to believe sometimes, they have done good stuff in the past. Like they brought Yu-Gi-Oh! And One Piece to the West. There's no
I don't
denying
know if
that.
that's a good thing for One Piece, though.
Yeah, the one. I mean, the One Piece rap is a bop. I don't care what anyone says. Everything else was objectively shit, and that's why it took me so long to even try One Piece again, because that was my first impression of One Piece, was that adaptation, if you want to even call it that. And, you know, it's notoriously shit on because it was so all over the place with, like, and it's already a wacky premise if you read the manga or watch the actual anime, but for that to be the first impression to the West, like, it was really off-putting because of all the choices they made. But you are right, like, it did a great service to the Western anime audience, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically became the cultural phenomenon that it did because of that.
Yeah, and and also for kids with Pokemon, like how they brought Pokemon to the West as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, jelly-filled donuts.
Jelly-filled no, everything has to be jelly-filled donuts now.
Yeah, since we're on this, like 4Kids' obsession with removing cultural like food elements from their series.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense if you look at like the first episode with Ghastly in the Pokemon anime, where you have Misty in a kimono.
Right, no, like, that was a choice. Like, it's very odd, everything that they did. I still don't understand some of the choices they made, but on others, I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand this. Like, this wouldn't make sense to a 5-year-old, you know, because Pokemon is aimed at a younger audience. But at the same time, you know, it's still food. It's still a dress. It's still a fucking whatever. And kids aren't as stupid as adults think they are. Like, they are notoriously fucking intelligent, for lack of a better term there. So they would be able to grasp, like, through context clues, through, like, oh, this is a type of food. They are eating this thing. You know, it's not like every kid is born with the brain cell of a fucking amoeba, you know. But the fun thing to me, like, I'm just touching on, like, the cultural, like, removal, like, cultural erasure that they kind of did. Like, a series like One Piece made no sense to adapt for them when you get down to it, because there are so many different varying cultures from island to island, you know? Could you imagine if they made it to fucking Dressrosa, or to...
Oh my word.
Or to fucking Wano now?
They'd probably skip over Dressrosa.
Yeah, have you... I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the infamous clip of what if they got to Frankie from One Piece, and it basically has the voice of Amber Mammoth from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Oh,
he has the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Oh god. Oh god, my brain hurts thinking about that. And just to clarify, like, I'm not the biggest One Piece person, like, but that there is so integral to the story of One Piece that it baffles me now, having read a giant chunk of it, you know, that they even bothered with it. But at the same time, it makes so much sense because they were throwing fucking darts at the wall, trying to scoop up anything they could to kind of keep afloat. Because
yeah, and I think... Sorry, I was just...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say, I think what happened was that they got One Piece in a package deal with Shaman King. So, like, if they wanted Shaman King, they had to have One Piece.
That would make more sense, because as dog ass as that fucking adaptation of Shaman King was. And I'm not the biggest fan of the current adaptation of Shaman King either, but it's still better in some parts and worse in others. That's about all I'm going to say about it. Like, it would make sense if they got in like a package deal, but 4Kids to me, as a gamer, feels like what THQ was at the end, you know?
Oh, totally.
And yeah, it was just kind of there floating, picking up anything they could, trying to make more money until it went under. And as fucked as it is to say, like, it's a good thing it went under, because if it had continued down that path, it could have irreversibly damaged anime here. And now that we actually have good studios adapting stuff, and we have actual proper adaptations of some of these franchises that they completely brutalized, they get a chance to live on and have an even deeper legacy than the memes that have come out of these. Like, Pokemon now, like, if you look at Journeys or anything that, like, we're going to ignore Sun and Moon. We're going to ignore Sun and Moon.
I love Sun and Moon.
I love. Yeah, what are you talking about, Vex?
I fucking hate the art style for it.
Vex, have you seen the Stoutland episode from Sun and Moon?
The story's good. The animation just disgusts me. That's all.
Watch it any day of the week rather than X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry. Even though people gush about animation so much, that
is a hot topic. I'd love. Now that you've mentioned it, I'd love you to have an argument with Lumia's trainer Sack.
Oh God, please.
It's like his animation is great. I just go to sleep watching it.
I agree. Like, X, Y, and Z, as fun as it was for, like, a starter pack for kids, because it was kind of like that reset. That's what I love about, like, all the more recent, Pokemon, is they kind of have a reset so another generation can come in and enjoy them. But it had the best start, sort of, for new kids to come in and enjoy that show. But I will agree, like, plot-wise, they didn't really think it out too well, because it felt so disconnected by the time you get to X, Y, and Z from X and Y, and it would just feel like, well, what the hell was the point of all the other journey? But, like, animation-wise, like, Sun and Moon just did not do it for me. Journeys, however, like, the new shit, I fucking love. Like, the animation style is so fluid, so crisp. I love it. But we wouldn't have got that. We wouldn't have even gotten to that point if 4Kids continued down that path.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Could you imagine if 4Kids... Well, they kind of did. They
technically still run it because 4Kids became 4K Entertainment,
owned
by Konami.
Yeah, they still kind of have their hands on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be fair, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, that's the perfect series for 4Kids to adapt. Like, if they were still around today as 4Kids and they were doing Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, that would be perfect for them, because it is geared toward... It is pretty much more child-friendly.
Yeah, and that's... I almost feel like... The point I was going to get to is, like, I would love to see them kind of do the older take, like they used to, on stuff like fucking 5Ds, and censor the ever-loving shit out of it, and fucking V-Rains and stuff like that. But I don't think they would ever have gotten to it if they continued down the same path either. But 7s or Go Rush, stuff like that would be perfect fits for them. Stuff like the Choice to Life, like fucking Beyblades, Bakugan, those kind of series would have been perfect for them as well, because they were more geared towards that audience that they targeted, and they would have just been perfectly simple, like boom, 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 here you go, here's your story, and there would have been no effort needed to be in there, because they're so simplistic in their story. Because they're there just to push merch. That's the whole point of stuff like Monsuno, fucking Bakugan, Beyblades, is just sell toys. So they're such a simple story, but engaging enough to a younger audience to just sit there and be glued to the TV or the iPad now, because who the fuck has a TV? Unless you're a gamer.
When it's glorious.
Yeah, unless you're a gamer, which is... I'm literally looking at my TV right now.
I use it for to watch Netflix and stuff. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, like, in the traditional family sense, like, you put the iPad in front of little Timmy, and, like, you watch your thing there.
I'm not putting that in front of little Timmy. Little Timmy's gonna watch terrible things.
Little Timmy's gonna watch a character holding a gun. We've got to change that to a squirt gun, which would make more sense in the One Piece world, considering devil fruit users are weak to water.
But weak to water to like shoulder length. You know how much water they would have to need for the.
Oh God, yeah. Holy shit.
They would have to strap like tubs of water to their back.
Now, also, I will say another positive for kids is that they did give us one of the best one of the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series ever in the form of the 2003 series.
Oh yeah, hands down. Like that has got to be their crowning achievement to me. Like that series single-handedly made me fall back in love with the Turtles because it was so masterful. Everything that came there from that series was just, I don't know who the fuck was in charge of buying series, but that dude deserves the sloppiest blowy ever because that was the perfect thing for them to pick up. And it fit perfectly. It fit perfectly in that time slot too. Like right as you were getting super awake, they're eating your fucking Fruit Loops in front of the TV. Like it was perfect.
Yeah, and amazingly, it was surprisingly darker than some that you watch some of that stuff and you think, how is this okay here, but not in something like 4K, not in something like Pokemon or One Piece?
Right.
Here's the funny thing: they had a direct involvement with that one. Like usually they were just, besides like Pokemon and like Yu-Gi-Oh and a few other properties, they just mostly, just broadcasted like shows that they got the rights for. This one they had a direct involvement with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series.
Oh God, yeah. I'm pulling up like everything that they were in charge of really quick because I it's been so long since we did the original research for this that I kind of, and I am also on a new phone from then, so like. Okay, so license and productions, blah blah blah.
Oh my God! I've just realized. I've just know it because I've brought it up as well for 4Kids. Do you remember Cubics?
Oh God, robots for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was actually watching like an episode like yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God, 4Kids did it. That makes so much sense.
And Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, remember that?
Which was fire. It won an Emmy or something.
Oh, God. The irony in all of that one is it won a
daytime Emmy. That's what it was.
Yeah, it won a daytime Emmy, and the actor that played the MC in that, it's been like 10 fucking years since that shit aired, directly says, just pirate it. Because you can't fucking get it anymore.
It's fire. It's a really good show.
And they also did Kirby Right Back at You.
Right back at you.
God. Oh my God, they also did the Biker Mice from Mars.
Yeah.
Wait, what? The Cramp Twins?
Yeah, they did a lot more. Ultimate Muscle, Viva Pinata.
I remember loving the Cramp Twins when it was airing over here. And like 4Kids did that.
I know I'm old as dirt, but does anybody remember Fighting Foodies?
God, no. Yes.
It's a show. It's essentially like Pokemon but food, but it's like sentient talking food that is humanoid somewhat, except for their heads. Their heads are still food.
I remember that shit. Like, the amount of dumb shit that they did that I completely forgot about. They did Stargate Infinity. God damn. Skunk Fu. Well, they licensed that for broadcast. Cartoon Saloon and Cake Entertainment. I forgot how much Cake Entertainment was involved in this shit too. Holy fuck.
I watched me a shit ton of like Winx Club.
Yeah.
I never watched Winx Club.
I recommend watching it.
That was my That was my thing because, like, as a kid, I would watch nothing but magical girl shit.
I will definitely put it on the list. Speaking of magical girl stuff, one thing that I can safely praise 4Kids for is that at least they didn't do the original card captors.
God.
Now
That.
I will say, much as that, looking back now is awful. I will say it was the first magical girl thing I watched that I honestly liked, honestly on the level of Pokemon at the time. And I didn't care that the main character was a girl. It was still, to me, as a kid, it was still cool. And that theme song, I'm sorry, Fex, much as you might want to dismiss, the theme song was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I own the Clow cards from that adaptation too. And I own, because I would buy all the merch from the shows that I loved, because why the hell would you not when you're a little fucking kid? I still own, somewhere in one of my storage units full of shit, the original Sakura doll somewhere.
Okay.
Um, and I own all of the Cubics robot that they made too somewhere. Unless that got lost long, long ago.
I really wish I got the Cubics robot.
Kind of wish I had it too.
But
Yeah.
That needs to have a reboot at some point.
It would be so topical now too. As fucked as that is, it would be so topical now because we're getting to the point where like everything's really super automated, and like having a robot like that when you have people like Elon Musk building robots to do every fucking task possible, like, it would be so cool to have like a more modern take on Cubics, because they were all just essentially fucking helper bots in their own rights.
Yeah.
But the other one that really I completely forgot was owned by them was, do you remember Dinosaur King?
Oh yes, I watched
Vaguely.
it so much.
That was such
Love
a
that
cool
show.
concept. Like, I was a sucker for those like action, like childish actiony, like card style battling anime back then. Duel Masters, fucking like Daigata Defenders to some degree.
High Chi Chasers. What the heck is this?
Yeah, I was looking at that one like, that sounds familiar, but
It's a card game. So it's one of those like bargain bin like card game animes that people don't remember.
God.
It was lost in the shuffle. It was like, oh no, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! This isn't Chaotix. This isn't Bakugan. This isn't Pokemon.
There's card games out there for pretty much everything.
Oh, it was it's a Korean one. That makes sense. That's probably why I didn't do super well here.
Also RIP Buddy Fight. You had a decent run.
It's over?
Well, yeah, that card game's been Bandai killed it for a while ago.
I had no idea. I just vaguely remember seeing it like in stores for a while and then it was gone. I just figured it didn't sell well enough, so they just went to online. Like there's another one that was kind of like that. Force of Will. That was mostly like sold online now. Look, the art of Force of Will was fucking fire. It reminded me of like old school. There was another fucking card game that kind of did that like super poppy anime style that I can't even remember the name of it now. My brain has gone blank. But anyway, like they did full art for every fucking card. It was really cool, but probably super expensive too. But yeah, and everything was like foily, so super dope. I used to use their cards to make proxies mostly because it was just easy to strip it off. But yeah, like the big part of this like whole thing is like there's so many like little tiny changes. So there's so many dives on YouTube, right? That we kind of be retreading it. But the biggest one I really want to touch on is what they've done to Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because from like the finger guns to like the dark dual discs to Shadow Realm, like if you think back, that kind of made it more impactful to our demographic in our region.
Oh yeah.
Even as stupid as it is to omit, mentions of religion and stuff like that, and to censor boobies because Jesus fuck.
Like
Why?
the religion part I get is like little Timmy's mom is like, but Timmy,
Which-
don't blaspheme.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense when you consider they had
hell in my child's cartoon.
But here's the thing: those type of parents would never buy their kids Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the first place. It doesn't matter what type of censorship you get.
I know. But also as well, going back to the religious allegory, for kids, what was the scene of Orichalcos?
It's a fucking pentagram.
It's like, yeah, we're gonna remove everything, but we're gonna keep the pentagram theme with like Dark Magician in that card.
It
Bravo.
makes sense to the word dark. How dare you?
You're right. They have the same name as me, Black. So
Yeah. Well, also as well. Do you know what Umbreon's Japanese name is?
Blackie.
Yeah.
That definitely won't fly here.
No, it wouldn't.
Go Blackie.
God. Oh.
Me and Embryon just sitting there confused.
Oh, by the way, just on a side tangent here. Ann Arbor, if you're listening to this, just gonna point out, Digimon was not for kids. That was Fox Kids. Because he said in the chat, Luke, I hope you give them hell for what they did to Digimon, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't for kids.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, as much as I want to give them hell for that, you
Yeah,
can't
they have
really.
no involvement with it whatsoever.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if and this was what I wanted to touch on in this topic. What if 4Kids was around today and still doing like adapting stuff like
4Kids crossover with interspecies reviewers? Let's go.
The most random of random series you can think of for them to adapt.
That show would just be one episode at that point.
But also as well, can you imagine them doing Digimon back in the day where you have...
Yes, I actually could imagine.
You have Mayo's mom being revived at the hour of the beast.
They would change here's the things they would do. They would change the time. They would edit any form of Myotis or Dope.
How do you edit Angemon and Angiwoman?
Angelwoman, simple. Get rid of their wings. That's to be the first thing to do. Give them jetpacks. Hack off Angelwoman's breast. I'm not joking. They probably would do this.
Oh yeah, they would.
Oh, okay.
Have an awesome chest plate for her. And change their names. Instead of being Angelwoman, she's now
Cherubmon.
Jet Tailmon. There you go.
Well, what about Devimon and Lady Devimon?
Okay. Do the exact same thing for Lady Devimon and just call her Black Jet Tailmon.
I hate how this would work.
Just chop off his horns. Give him a bald head. Like give him like a little bit of hair. Make it look like he's balding a little bit, and just call him Business Suit Mon.
Yeah,
give him a briefcase.
And also, you have to change Angie-Woman's attack from Heaven's Charm to
Cat Charm.
Spirit Charm.
It'll be Spirit Charm, or it'll be like cat themed. So it'll be I don't know, Scratching Post Charm. There you go.
God.
Oh,
God. So you have to draw the tail on her just so they know it's still got him on, tail on, whatever.
Yeah.
God. No, think about because they would pick the most random shit too. Could you picture them doing something like Konosuba or Jobless Reincarnation? Because they would see like the premise of it being in a video game and be like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty cool."
And then like, wait, we can't show any of this.
Right?
Why did we have an entire episode of those main characters' parents banging?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Can you imagine them doing Rising of the Shield Hero?
Yeah, I could still see them calling her bitch, because that would make sense for 4 kids, but there would be no mention of SA or anything like that because again they would try to gear it towards kids. Raftalia would be much more covered up. Probably they give her like some sort of smock to wear instead of being basically naked.
And they'll just cut out all the scenes of the chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's
Still
like,
wants to
no
know
white
why.
chocobo for y'all. This is removed.
You know, it's baffling to think about like all the changes they would make to stuff like that though, because most of what they did made no fucking sense.
Here's one thing that doesn't make sense. Like removing OSTs and then making entirely new ones. That's a lot of money.
I don't care what anyone says. Rave Master's fucking ska punk OP total
No,
bop.
I'm talking about like for
I
the
do-
openings.
I-
The
I-
openings, okay, but it's just like the random like background music, like
Oh, God,
yeah,
Songetsu,
all of that.
Songetsu. I have to disagree with you on that one for 3 words: Egyptian god theme. You cannot deny the English theme for the Egyptian god cards is epic.
Oh yeah, it doesn't mean that they're not good. It's just like an extremely expensive process. He's not wrong. Like,
I know,
but like
all bad. I was just say, but why though?
it's certainly a fucking choice. Like, just to give
I guess.
a little context here, getting clearance to air this music in all the countries that it's labeled in, right? So for 4 kids, it'd be licensed basically in everywhere in North America, Canada, fucking Mexico, pretty much most South American territories as well. They touched in. So they would have to get the rights to license it out in any of those countries for their dubs. And then they would have to go in, produce the music. This is all shit I've had to deal with recently. Having gotten back into writing music. So, like, getting into dealing with all that bullshit, going through, getting approval if you use even a sample in any of those countries. So, say they take the first 30 seconds of the original theme from Yu-Gi-Oh! We'll use that as an example.
Yeah.
They'd have to get the rights from the Japanese studio to play that first 30 seconds in all of those countries, and then get approval from their own governments if there's any kind of themes in that music that they don't like. Going broad strokes with this, of course. And then being able to air it in that time slot that the show would be airing in, and any subsequent, like, this is now, syndicated on 17 other channels than the one we originally aired it on, so I have to pay for the rights to license it that way. It's very fucking costly.
Not to mention that
like the openings.
Yeah, not to mention with the openings, I think every time they would air, they would probably have to pay royalties to the actual vocalists themselves.
Be pennies on the dollar. You don't really pay them as much. You just pay like the record label mostly, and then they would get the pennies off of those pennies.
Oh God, Warner Brothers.
because if you have the master like rights to your music, you're gonna be rich forever. Like, but if you don't, you make pennies off the dollar off your own music.
Yep.
That's why I never understood like artists were going so hard for like the whole like piracy thing. It was like, sure, people can pirate your CDs and stuff, but you're not really making that much money off of them.
No, we've got to do it what South Park did. We're just about the money.
Yeah. Like, and see, like, that's the thing, that the record label specifically for all of these, remember how hard they push like the fucking soundtracks for like To Be a Master or Music to Duel By back in the day? Like, think how much they made off of that kind of shit. only like little tiny chunks of that would go to the voice actors that would be on that, right? Because you would have like little snippets from the show, like little sound bites, like those 3, 4, 5 seconds of them talking in there before the next track. You would have like pennies on the dollar to them, on top of paying pennies on the dollar to whoever made the music itself. So
whoever over like their music, they got the full dollar.
right, right, like it's crazy. Like the fucking soundtrack to like the Pyramid of Light movie, absolute bop. I still use that music occasionally just to focus.
Pyramid Light deck back in the day.
God.
Those cards were terrible, but I loved them.
Right, I ran one too. Like, I literally bought a whole fucking dumb kid brain. I bought a whole like booster box of those cards, thinking there was more than like 9 cards total.
No.
You know, and then I'm like, these are all the same fucking pack. What the hell?
Don't even get me reminded on like shining blue eyes, because that card's terrible and you couldn't even summon it at the time because Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon didn't get printed until like what
4 years later.
4 years later, ridiculous.
Yeah. And yet Yugi managed to summon it with Monster Reborn in the movie.
Anime logic, am I right?
Yeah.
No, he cheated.
Nah, it's the heart of the cards. What you talking about?
No, he cheated.
But like that's the thing. Like so much came out of that, and then you start to think like as you're an adult, like how much of 4Kids relied on product placement. Because every single show that they picked up eventually, other than like One Piece or Shaman King, it kind of turned into like a merch horror. Because you got all their big ones, like Kirby Right Back At You had action figures. Fucking the Turtles have forever been that way. You know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously the card game, they had action figures of everything from like the fucking mystical elf to goddamn Winged Dragon of Raw. And then, like, fucking Pokemon, obviously, the card game, you got the, like, all the toys, all the plushies. Now you got fucking Squishmallows I'm going to be hunting down because I need my boy Gengar.
You would think they wouldn't make that much money on, like, marketing, like, Pokemon because, like, Pokemon Company would,
oh, God, they got the big chunk of it. But, like, just being licensed out like that, you have to think they would get some sort of residual kickback. How much we'll never know the finances of 4Kids, obviously, but it's just something you think about. Like,
unless we just randomly ask Konami, is like, Konami, can we know this? And they'd be like, no.
Exactly. Let me slide in Konami's DMs. I'm still waiting on Young Gravy to hit me back up because I asked him to license a song for a skit. I'm never gonna. I'm not a MILF. I'm never gonna hear back from him.
Oh, speaking of skits, can you imagine 4Kids doing Chainsaw Man?
God, no!
Okay, my editing of, like, Digimon still applies, so do the same things I said there.
Right, honestly.
So Denji's chainsaws turn into popsicle sticks.
No, it's gonna be a laser. Have you remember, like, they replaced the chainsaw with a laser chainsaw. It's gonna be more badass.
And Makima doesn't have 7 dogs that for some reason, and she doesn't have and there's no lesbian harem.
Yeah.
No, that scene definitely would never exist.
Because it's gonna be a sleepover. They're all gonna be in their onesies.
Yeah, you're going to get Quan Chi in a Makima onesie. Makima's ass is going to get nerfed into oblivion. I'm sorry, simps.
No, you know what?
It's gonna be flatter than Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
You know what would be edited to high heaven? The final scene where Denji's charging at Makima with the chainsaw and her boobs are like just right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like there's going to be come on in.
Of course, everybody remembers Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters.
Oh God.
The exclusive 4 kids season.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, a spin-off season that literally has the main cast and nobody else.
Yep, moving on. 39 minutes.
What's up, niggas?
Thurman made it.
Hey, Furman.
You gonna dip in?
Yeah.
Okay, I will. I gotta do 2 things here real quick. You gotta get the other screen up really quick. But like, that's the thing, right? Like, I'm so curious exactly where we'd go with the. There's one other series, and I gotta get your guys opinions on it. Could you picture them getting Fire Punch?
Hell no.
Oh God, no, definitely not.
Fire
Spark Punch.
Fire
No,
Fire Punch, particularly like Dogfucker and the scene where you become a human battery.
Hell to the fuck no.
I wanna ask Fuji. If I could ask Fujimo one question, it would be this: have you been hanging out with Mayuri from Bleach?
God, that would make sense when you think about like him hanging out with Mayuri.
Sense.
You know, I'm just like there's so many series that I would love to see like how brain dead the changes would be, but you got to stop back and think like some of these series definitely would never pass the vibe check for them, even with the randomness of all of their shit that they've picked up, because there's thousands upon thousands of like ecchi series that would be so super fun to see them attempt to adapt, like High School of the Dead, for example, or High School DxD. You know, you would get like random, dumb edits.
The funny part about that.
I have got.
That you would literally have to take. So let's dissect this for a second, okay? Let's take any anime you can think of, any anime, doesn't matter, any anime, and then if you apply the 4 kids formula to it, you would have to literally, like a surgeon, cut away at everything that you know is not appropriate for kids. So, for example, High School of the Dead, right? So, no blood. So, already the biggest one is no blood. Cut that down.
Yeah.
No boobs whatsoever.
The
Cut
most
that down.
famous scene would not exist.
Yes, no any sort of like smoking or drinking of any kind, or that it's gonna be changed to water, or it's gonna be changed from having a lollipop. Let's see here. Violence is gonna be cut down immeasurably. No cuss words. Like it wouldn't even be High School of the Dead at that point. It would just literally just be like,
Who's gonna eat ice cream with me now?
Yeah.
The candle's dead.
it's literally like it's so funny.
Actually, now that I think about it, there is one series that they could potentially do. It would still be edited, but it could potentially work, and that would be Dr. Stone.
I don't think you need that much editing with Dr. Stone.
I had to do that much editing.
Besides the blood, I guess, and I guess like the alcohol when they make everyone their own drinks. I guess,
Yeah.
But,
Lie and say, "Oh yeah, this is
Yeah, I mean,
soda,
I mean, it's a pretty tame.
high quality soda."
Yeah, that's a pretty tame series. Like, if they took Black Clover over,
they wouldn't exist.
They would have to cut down the. Actually, Black Clover would be interesting because there's a lot of religious stuff in that, and you know
religion, devil, stuff like that.
Yeah, you know how America is about religion, so I'm curious
Just
to see how they would
all
do
the
that.
changes I mentioned for Digimon, like give all the demon related stuff, remove their demon wings and give them jetpacks.
Because it's just like, because I would say like as much as I would say like the Spade arc is probably the most like heavy
yeah,
when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that arc alone would probably be censored. Like the blood would be censored. Because I mean, it's Black Clover. It's not. It's pretty tame when it comes to like heavy stuff. But like blood. I think the biggest thing would probably be like the blood. Maybe the swords might be an issue. Also, swords might be an issue. Let me think. Cuss words, obviously. What's her name? Not Monica. Well, yeah, Monica too.
Vanessa.
Vanessa, but Vanessa would have to be toned down She'll probably get more. She'll probably get more.
Vanica as well.
Yeah, she'd probably have to get more covered up, and she would not be drinking.
Gouge would have to be censored as well.
Oh yeah, Gouge, no little sister, or they might age up to little sister.
I mean, if you've seen what they've,
Honestly,
they didn't do Sailor
Moon.
Moon.
Cut him off entirely. They might act like he doesn't exist in the show.
They didn't do Sailor Moon, did they?
I think Fox Kids did Sailor Moon.
No,
Fox
they
and like some other company.
Okay,
Was over
I was going to
Sailor
say. I mean, they did cousin fucking in Sailor Moon. The original does.
I heard they there was a lesbian couple in Sailor Moon, but they
made them cousins. Yeah.
Cousins, yeah.
Yep.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Gotta love it.
That's American censorship in that show. But I mean, it's funny, right?
It makes sense to kiss your cousin. What are you talking about,
like
Thurman? Says the Deep South.
Four kids is.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Shelby Phil from The Simpsons.
So it's funny because Four Kids censorship was very interesting back in the day because like. Now we can say it was shit, but growing up, it was kind of the norm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't like Toonami, where Toonami didn't really have the thing. But Four Kids, as I said, like going back as a kid and remembering like the Four Kids dub of One Piece, I still fairly enjoyed it because I think ignorance was bliss as a kid. You didn't know what you were getting off. So I think that's why the Four Kids anime got away with a lot of its shit was because like kids didn't know.
Right.
Unless you had like friends or like family who were really into manga at that time.
Which when they started off was a lot harder to find.
Yeah, you didn't really know like oh shit because me as a kid like the fucking intro was fire as shit.
Right.
Like, growing up, I see all these other intros of
with Seto Kaiba doing the narration.
And I'm just like I see the actual anime opening and I'm like what the fuck is this? Where's the rap song? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like as a kid growing up. When it comes to Four Kids, like the One Piece dub wasn't really that bad because it was like as a kid you don't know the difference. Well, maybe some kids do. Who knows? Who cares? But as a standard kid who's just trying to watch a show on Saturday morning, like you don't really know the difference. So like, I think that's why they got away with it because they're like around like the big death, CEO death. You're kind of like kids are stupid. They don't know the difference between like the censored and the uncensored. The only one who could probably complain about it. Or the fans, or like the grown adult fans, and my thing to them was like, well, it's not for you, it's for kids. That's why it says for kids, literally in the name. So like the censorship, while bad, yes, I can't hate it because it's just kind of like that's the only way we could have gotten what we've gotten, and that was actually my first introduction to One Piece. And I would argue and say I like One Piece more than Dragon Ball because I think one of the main reasons why Dragon Ball was probably more popular than One Piece, and it was because we did get an early build of one of the Four Kids One Piece stuff, but like Dragon Ball and Naruto came over uncensored. Because I remember even in like when Naruto was on like Disney Channel and stuff like that, like
my name's Sasuke Uchiha, and you're watching Disney XD.
Yeah, when it was on there, it wasn't that heavily censored to my knowledge.
It wasn't really.
Like, there was still blood in it, still cuss words in it. To my knowledge,
like minor blood and stuff. You know, like Naruto saying "darn,"
like
was removed. That's about it.
Yeah, like Asuma's death was a little bit like cut away from stuff like that.
But there wasn't
Is that why Naruto always said "believe it"?
No, I believe it was always a thing of his.
No, he said like some Japanese phrase that you couldn't translate well into English, so they was like, believe it.
That wasn't that Date Bayo or some shit like that? Or?
Yes, that's the exact phrase.
So it's basically like the equivalent of Chrome in Dr. Stone saying that's bad all the time.
Basically.
Yeah, it's his catchphrase. That's what he's known for. But it's just like because it's funny because if we take a look at every other censorship and to be fair, if you want to be technical, yes, One Piece got hold with the dub. Let's be honest with the kids dub. But like I said, I don't think as a kid it wasn't that bad. But I mean, if you compare it to like Dragon Ball and Naruto, whose dubs were really censored on because I remember DBZ Kai wasn't even that heavily censored. I mean, besides like the blood and stuff like that, but it was
Popo. They couldn't handle the blackness of Popo.
Yeah, like the thing is though, I think the thing is when it comes to
I
like,
don't
stuff
remember
like,
a whole bunch about Popo being
Because
censored in
it's-
Kai.
He was blue in Kai.
Oh God!
It's crazy. It's crazy you mentioned that.
So
shit.
it was basically Will Smith from the new Aladdin.
Yeah, but it's so funny because like when it comes to that sort of situation, like
Can you tell I barely watch Kai?
yeah, it blows my mind because like I was so used to growing up watching like Naruto and like Dragon Ball, and then like when you actually see it like on Toonami or like on an anime website and you see all the blood and shit that were in Dragon Ball and Naruto, it low-key kind of made me uncomfortable a little bit. I remember the first time I saw like actual like blood in Dragon Ball, it was when Frieza cut himself in the Frieza arc or Namek arc, whatever you want to call it, and because he was a dumbass and tried to hit him with poor man destructo discs, and I saw the blood for the first time. And I was like, whoa, bro, that shit's fucking graphic. And like me as an anime fan now, knowing there's way worse graphic stuff than Dragon Ball out there, obviously, but it's just like. As like growing up in like in high school and shit, and I first saw that, I was like, God damn, bro, I don't remember Dragon Ball being this like violent. But then I had to realize like that was the censorship. You know what I mean? And like when you go from like that sort of like censorship when it comes to like Naruto and like even Bleach and shit like that, and you go towards that censorship into like Toonami or like the actual like original source material stuff, that shit like it shit blows up in your face. You're like, damn, this shit's more brutal than you thought. Like it's almost like I don't know if I really would be comfortable with my kid watching anime at their age, honestly. Like, like that's why when people say anime is for kids, this is kind of like because like that shit, like seeing Frieza getting cut in half like that to us, that's just like oh cool, but like to a kid, that shit might be horrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's like certain animes that are like exactly designed for kids. Like you just have to do the parently thing and just
research,
research, watch through stuff first.
Or if you want
never assume jack shit. Never.
Yep.
And
or fucking just scour through the content you want to introduce to your kids and give them fucking context for what's happening on the screen. It's not that fucking hard to be an actual goddamn parent, but so few people actually want to sit down and be like, okay, this is what this means. This is what this is. This person is getting, cut in half because they're a bad guy. That's not what we do as normal fucking humans. This is fantasy,
Yeah. And I was just gonna say really quickly, that like you said, Sonka, so there are a lot of anime out there for that are perfect for kids, like a lot of slice of life that are basically just people doing everyday stuff. And also as well, I just because Furman actually brought it up with Bleach. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that with how the blood and that, because that's basically if you've seen the latest interview from Kubo, he said that that's the reason why he was very meticulous about actually showing blood in the manga itself because of the anime, and he was worried that the Falsia Blood War arc would never get adapted because of all the blood.
It's crazy to me because like when it comes, what I think people need to understand is what Twitter needs to understand rather is that casuals need to understand like you like is that Sengetsu? I think that's Sengetsu.
Yep.
Yeah.
The top left.
Sengetsu was hit now on the coffin there. There are certain anime that are for kids, right? But the thing is, people think that all shonen is for kids just because like
we're totally not
that we're adults. Like, cause I think they're looking at it from an adult mindset than compared to a kid, because what you find cool as an adult might not be cool. Like you have to think of it as a kid. Some kids can handle some certain shonen, but other kids can't. And I think people need to understand is that shonen isn't just for kids.
Could you imagine Dante from Black Clover being shown to a 5-year-old?
Yeah, I'm saying like,
that would scar them for life.
Yeah,
or the first episode of Promised Neverland.
Right, yeah. Like that still falls under that shonen demographic.
And the thing is, though, it's just like people don't understand. Shonen is
a blanket genre term.
It's literally teenagers to young adult. That's really what it is. Like there are like you have Doraemon, which is really popular. You have stuff like that. Like people
Yokai Watch still technically falls under that fucking demographic.
People see like Dragon Ball, Bleach, and honestly, be honest with you, I don't think series like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, like series
Especially
like
when you
those,
get to Shippuden.
yeah, and One Piece. I don't think those are really comfortable for kids either. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think
They
a kid should
really
be watching
aren't.
those. They're not kid friendly at all. Like if you showed a kid like the original shit, like that shit will scar a kid. Like imagine sitting your kid down and making them watch a full uncensored version of Yu Yu Hakusho. They probably either come out of that hard as fuck or scarred as fuck. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah, the same with like fucking Hunter x Hunter. Like it's still like the early shit, you know, is more like okay, yada yada yada, going on an adventure, get to the fucking Chimera arc, you're scarring your fucking kid.
even the thing before then, like York knew was dark as fuck. It's all about Kurapika trying to find his lost eyes, bro. Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like that's
Yeah.
like shonen as a genre. People think it's kiddie because they're thinking of like because it's mostly the seinen elitists. I hate seinen elitists. I love seinen as a genre, but the elitists of
Oh,
that
God,
genre
yes.
are really the worst. Really, the
Their own
worst.
ass a lot. Don't really like the people.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the same. It's the same thing of people saying like, I can't watch a shoujo series. Why? Because it's all romance and that.
like me personally,
Imagine being so fragile in your masculinity that you can't watch a romance anime.
like for me, romance as a genre, I'm not that big a fan of personally. I can watch one. Like Orange is probably one of my favorites. Orange is actually a really good anime.
Yeah.
I recommend that to anybody. But it's just like, but my thing is when it comes to the shoujo genre and everything, my take on romance is this: I need something more than it just being, oh, girl falls in love with a boy and the whole manga trying to get that boy to notice her. Like that's just boring to me. I need like some like the reason why I like Orange because there's some time traveling shit in there. Just like the reason why I like the harem subgenre so much because it's not just romance. It has like action in it. There's like more than that. You know what I mean? Like I need
You
another
have
hook.
competition. You
Yeah.
have all the intrigue in it.
I
like,
need
there-
more
there's
than just girl falls in love with boy, boy falls in love with girl, whatever. Even shonen romance is more like Blue. If it wasn't for the fact that Blue Box was about sports as well, I probably wouldn't even picked it up. As good as it is, it would just be a standard fucking romance.
Yep.
The fact that it has sports and actually focuses on the sports somewhat is the reason why I keep reading it. If it wasn't for the sports part, I probably would have dropped that shit 100%.
Yeah, you want to know something funny? I've actually dropped Blue Box.
Yeah,
I've
it's not
not.
for everybody. It's
Yeah,
Yep.
I-
I dropped it after those first couple streams because I just couldn't be
it's,
ours with
bro,
it.
it's boring, bro. Like all romance manga it feels like the same, and that's fine. It's just like people elitist. What I think it comes down to, and I think it's just Twitter. People are so tired of shonen, and I get it, but it's just like, bro, that's a popular genre. Like, what more do
absolutely.
you want? Like, I see, but people are like, bro, I'm not a shonen pony like you guys. I fucking like seinen and mech and horror and fucking romance and shit. It's just like, okay, cool.
Like that's the same energy as like somebody saying, like back in the day, well, I've never watched television. All I do is read. Like that's great and all, but
Bro,
why are you bragging about it? Like,
bro, I hate people like that.
And-
It's like it reminds me of those people who are like, I don't need to smoke or drink to have fun. I'm like, okay,
Okay, that's good for you,
that's good
not for
you.
me.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Like
And
why are
I-
you trying to be proud that you don't do those things? Like, are you better than me somehow? Like,
You
I don't.
you want to know the funny part and just bringing that up is I put up our Nino Kuni video as a test. It immediately got age gated for alcohol and drug use. Because we're smoking a blunt and drinking Smirnoff Ice in it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
So... go ahead. Luke.
Yeah. Going back to what you were saying there, Furman. Yeah, I don't like people like that because here's the thing. I like all varieties of genre, like action, comedy,
Mhm.
romance, horror. But and sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming, like to the point where I'm just like the series I'm rewatching at the moment is the order from a rabbit, which is basically just about cute girls running a coffee shop, and it's just so relaxing. Like after like a hard day at work, that's all you need, just like something cutesy, nice, relaxing to kind of chill out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's the thing, right? Like I 100% agree with that. Like there's a great point in where those series actually matter to the demographic. There's got to be that hook. There's got to be that. Oh, you had a.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But like there, you got to have more to it. Like it's a sort of rabbit. I would even classify like Bunny Senpai in there as well.
Yeah.
Like as those ones that have that little bit more. But I want a hook in those type of series.
It can't just
Yeah.
be like fucking because like that. I have to be honest. That's what most of shoujo that I've seen are like. It's just
You
just
gotta-
what- and then I see people like, and what pisses me off the most is just, I don't know why like what it's already a red flag that you're trying to say like, oh, one gender writes this better than another gender, and it's just like. And I'm just like, bro, like, why bring that up? Like, what?
Yeah.
Who cares what gender they are? Like,
I know.
The argument that like a man can write like boys better than a woman, or like a woman can write men better than a man. It's so stupid to be like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I-
Twitter's just super sexist in general.
And
like-
I've just got 3 words to say to anybody who has that
Write your
mentality.
shit.
No, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, it's not even just Full Metal Alchemist. Like, there's this renaissance of like female writers writing everything masterfully. Like, and
the thing is, though, they've always done that.
right,
Women
but
have
the thing
done
is
it. Have
now,
you ever heard of Clover?
Yeah. And to say that men can't write female characters well, I'd like to point to Inagaki with Kohaku and Suika from Dr. Stone.
right? Like, and the thing is that 100% they've always been there. It's just now anime and manga are more mainstream that we can get. We can get that more gravity towards these authors. Be like, no man could ever write a woman this good. But there's like 75 fucking authors from the 1970s to like the early 2000s that did the same goddamn thing. But you never fucking heard about these series because we didn't have an instant highway of fucking traffic to search whatever the hell you want, like the internet, like all the fucking piracy sites, all the like fucking like person number 75 on Twitter being like, gotta go read the series, bro, it's so dope. But at the same time, you also have now this renaissance of like junior authors that have learned from those works because they were involved in that fucking community and have taken those lessons that those veterans have put there and taking and putting their own spin on it and doing it even better.
Yeah, you'd be shocked how many people who are currently in now was assistant to like heavy hitter stuff. Like Tabata was assistant to the guy who wrote Siren, I think.
Yeah, and
Witch Watch, the main author for that, he was assistant to Sriracha, who made
Gintama. Yep.
And his shit has been, he's 2 for 2 now technically because Sket Dance did really well in Weekly Jump, and this Witch Watch is doing pretty well now. I mean, I don't really count Lost in Austria because I mean that's like, I mean that was what
5 volumes.
But no, but I'm saying like I don't think that was actually Weekly Shonen Jump. I think that was another magazine. I think that was like a monthly magazine. I think. Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's just kind of like the whole like gender battle between who can write what better is always weird to me because it's just like who cares. Like I remember Jump. There was like someone from Jump editorial was like, reason why we don't have women assistants is because they don't understand the hearts of young boys. And I literally, as soon as Vex posted that in the chat, I roasted the fuck out of Shonen Jump because I'm just like, why the fuck would you let one of your editorials people say that shit when there's been multiple successful series in your fucking magazine written by women? Like Hitman Reborn, biggest one. Like, bruh, like I don't understand. They don't understand the hearts of young boys. Yet plenty of women in different magazines have been writing and doing great manga for years. Like, hell,
And-
one of them, the creator of Inuyasha, she's known as like the grandmother of manga. Like she's made Inuyasha. She's made I think she made what's that one series with a guy who like turns into a woman when he gets like hot water stuck on him or some shit.
Fuck.
Rama.
Yeah.
I think she wrote that too. I think she made that one.
And now Yashahime, the sequel series to
she's writing a new series.
And
now called
also
Mao.
as well, I was just going to say about that, like the biggest example of a successful female writer in Jump is I I don't know if it was ever confirmed, but the author of Demon Slayer, it isn't that confirmed to be a woman.
Yeah, she's a woman.
I don't give enough of a shit about
No,
Demon Slayer.
no, she is. She's friends with Tabata too.
Yeah.
I think she was just like the very friendly like work like employee because everyone loved
Yep.
her. If you go back and look at her fucking at the
end of the serialization.
everyone was congratulating her for her series. So
yeah, she seemed like well loved. I'd always referred to them as a they because I didn't really know the gender because I've never really cared enough about Demon Slayer.
Because we don't know if JJK's author is a woman or not, do we?
No, I think we're in that kind of era where like they don't care,
Yeah, her name's author of Inuyasha. Her name is Rimiko Takahashi, and she is well, she's one of the most best known and wealthiest manga artists. She's been writing manga since 1978. Her first work was Yurusei Yatsure.
Yep. The mermaid thing.
Mermaid bikini girl shit.
Yep.
That I see everywhere. I have no idea what the fuck she.
I hope it's a good adaptation.
Oh,
this
she
time.
wrote that.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, she wrote that. She wrote Mermaid Saga. She wrote Rene.
And also, go ahead.
Mason Ikawa. That's probably just Japanese only. Mermaid Saga. Like she wrote a lot of
fucking shit ton of stuff.
But her most famous works in the West are Inuyasha and Ranma. Those are the main two that I hear people talk about a lot when it comes to her works.
Yeah, I'm hoping Yurusei does get a good adaptation because it really hasn't successfully kind of taken off, and it's a masterpiece of a fucking read if you haven't read it. But like, there's so goddamn much under her belt that it's shocking to me. But like, just tying this back into the topic at hand, and also there's one other thing that we really want to talk on as well, and we really want to start doing like a quarterly stated jump thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's an idea that Luke had kind of brought up, like because of new information about the Phantom Seer stuff that's going on, a lot of the whole argument that we've been having back and forth in the server, it just how god awful most State of Jump videos have been, but I also do want to do these like visiting like various studios and their work instead of just relying solely on 4Kids.
4Kids, yeah.
Because like
I remember, I know the CW had theirs too. I remember that.
Toon's Eye kind of.
What's it called?
That all was part of the 4Kids saga because I
know Kids WB was my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know if 4Kids and Kids WB were the same. They might have been a brand.
It wasn't.
Okay, yes. I know Kids WB was my personal favorite. Kids WB had like Teen Titans, Justice League, Limited.
They had a bunch of headers.
They had a heavy. Matter of fact, while y'all talk.
So I kind of want to visit studios like Cloverworks, A1 Productions, Period.
We still have to do that. We still have to do that. Anime Studios tier list too.
Well, this is kind of like the setup to that. But we also have like a part one for another podcast. But Andrew's in the process of moving this week, so we kind of
we still have to finish
the boss battle. Yeah.
The boss one.
So like we got like 4 different ideas floating around at the same time right now. But I really kind of want to do these things of like visiting all the other studios because it feels really shitty to just dunk on one when they've all had their hits and misses, obviously.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, so it was.
Yeah. And I was just going to quickly.
Go ahead, Luke, real quick.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say quickly about male authors who write really good female characters. Naruki Urasawa. Look at Monster. Look at 20th Century Boys. Look at his newest series.
Fucking Christ, you brought that up.
I think the issue with that, Luke, is the fact that people like, and it's so fucking stupid. It's just that people don't know how to fucking read more than like 3 series, right? So because a lot of new anime fans or new manga fans now, they only know of shonen until they deep dive and find other genres. And the issue is that they're complaining.
They're a starter pack.
Yeah, they're complaining about tropes that shonen has been known for years, and then they complain about the sexualization, some shitty writing for women, obviously. Like these are
well, when they read My Hero, JJK, and Demon Slayer exclusively, they're going to see that because they are based on and influenced by some of the classics that also had those same flaws.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, and the thing is, I need people to understand is that like just because a character is sexualized does not mean they're badly written. And as much as people hate it, Fairy Tail is the perfect example.
Thank
Fairy Tail
you.
has some of the most best written women in manga.
But
No
they
matter
are
how-
overly
But they
sexualized.
are overly sexualized because
I've got to ask you
the
a
author-
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got to ask you a question, Furman. Have you checked out Eden Zero yet?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
all caught up.
Can you for Fex's sake, would you say that the characters are less sexualized in Eden Zero than they are in Fairy Tail?
Yes, but not by much. Because
Mm.
when I say that because here this nigga Mishima's a mad lad. Okay, this nigga. Let me tell you, Luke. You know
He
what I'm
really
talking
is.
about. You know what I'm talking about. Zingets, I don't know if you're reading Zero, but
I've read Fairy Tail. Like,
so this nigga, literally in Eden Zero, after I forgot her name, one of the Valkyries, the one with the sword. I forgot her name.
Is it Hermit? Is that the one you're thinking of?
Not Hermit. The one who says shit out loud. I forgot her name.
Homer.
Homura. Right?
Homer. Yeah, I love her character just for that.
She's really well written. I'm actually a pretty good written character. This man.
that's
Max,
the one thing I have to
this-
like give him
this
credit
man-
for. Is,
This man, he had her win in a fight, right?
Mhm.
In the middle of a war, and they're on a planet where all the robots are being taken over, and they're fighting for their lives against like different organizations and shit, right? This man, after he had her kick somebody's ass, he had the main character come to her. She was like, "Okay, we can move on, but first, I need a fucking bath." Okay, this man drew her taking a bath in the middle of a battle zone, bro. This and I sent that.
You told me about this.
I sent that screenshot in the chat, and I was like, "This man, Mishima, is
Needs
wild.
to just write
He's
hentai.
wild." This
Yeah.
man, literally-
biggest fan of Fairy Tail, but I have to say for one thing, like the big plus of it is the Fairy Tail cast, like the main team and of course the entire team of Fairy Tail and some of the supporting cast, really well written. That part I actually enjoyed about them was the characters themselves,
Mhm.
the villains and like some of the story arcs. I didn't really enjoy them that much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, his two strong suits are characters and fights. Honestly, he's really good at those two. His writing style actually reminds me of Kubo's just a little bit, just slightly different.
Yeah,
Because
and I can
Kubo's
agree
is-
with that. Like,
Kubo's is a little bit shonen-y.
yeah,
I should say formulaic. I should
Yep.
say.
yeah, it definitely follows that standard formula, and that
Mishima breaks away from that, but I would say his writing style is similar.
yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad with some of those fucking like really stereotypical writers, because you gotta get deep down into the cracks of what the actual plot. Yeah, as I'm cleaning the goop out of my controller.
I had jokes into, but one thing I wanted to say, going back to what my original point was, it was because a lot of the newcomers in the fandom medium
Mhm.
only see shonen, and then they're like, well, why are the characters sexualized? You know, why is this? Why is that? It's like, if you have a complaint about that, that's totally fine. Even us, as I would say, I would consider us in the Discord non-cringy fans. We've all had our cringy moments when it comes to manga, but I would consider us being well aware, like, yes, there are some quote-unquote problematic manga and anime out there. It's inevitable. It's a free platform. There's a reason why Dog Nigga exists. You know what I mean? Like, it's a free platform. Anyone can,
The fact that exists.
anyone
That
can
was
go
the
over and-
wildest thing I've ever heard of. Was the premise for that? I still hadn't read it. I still hadn't read it yet, but
I
eventually
have
I'll
read
to,
some of it
for-
just because
for to
Thurman sent it
see
in the group chat
what's
once.
the hype.
So see, people like it's manga. Manga is like video games. Anybody, if you learn the skill and you can throw your hat in the table,
Mhm.
you know, in the jar, whatever, right? So it's just kind of like that's just how it is. And I think people need to understand it's like we're in a different country. We talked about this with the Dead Lucky author. It's like what's popular in another country will not be popular in the country that you're in. And I think people need to understand that. There's a reason why Marvel or DC, while popular here, superhero type stuff probably wouldn't be popular in Japan,
Right.
Russia, or Korea, and why, you know, maybe like Superman or Batman comics have a small niche in Japan or wherever, but out here, you know, stuff like Bleach, Black Clover are big, but out there in Japan, it's it's popular, but probably not as popular as
Right.
One Dragon Ball shit like that. Because and not everything's going to translate well in different countries. That's why for the long time that gap was so hard to cross because because at the end of the day, it's the same reason why like people who get upset that certain series get axed in the magazine. While even though sometimes I get upset when something gets axed in the magazine, I have to realize it's like what you guys have to understand is it has to go through Japan's audience first. They are what Jump cares about. Shueisha knows there's a market and money in the world, in the Western market for sure when it comes to their mangas. That's why we have the Shonen Jump app now, why we're getting more and more volumes, getting faster out here, stuff
Exactly.
like that, while we're starting to get
Remember
more
when it
translated.
used to be like
Yeah.
3 fucking years to get a volume over here?
They're
Now it's
trying-
like a year.
They're trying to translate Jump Festa for us and stuff like that because they know there's money involved and there's a fan base in the West. But people have to realize is that they're gonna focus on their home country first because that's how the series gets popular. The worldwide sales don't matter until Japan sales matter, and that's the thing. That's why people who are upset about Phantom Seer are upset about all these shonen
Hardboiled
series,
Cop and Dolphin.
Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, and Ashimon.
Yeah.
Like they have to go through Japan first because fuck America and Europe and shit. I'm not gonna pay that manga's bills right now because we can't get a hold of the series right now. Like they're gonna focus on what makes on their bread in Japan because random Japanese kid number 55 can go down to the market and buy the magazine or the volume as soon as it comes out. We don't get those volumes like a year later, unless you want to buy untranslated manga volumes.
Right.
If that's what you're saying, by all means. I don't know why, unless you can read Japanese, but like I said, by all means. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's where their money comes from. And like, if it's not popular in Japan, it's not going to see the light of day. Popularity in the world isn't going to fucking matter until now. Because now, shit like Dragon Ball, Saint Seiya, One Piece, Naruto, they already had their popularity in Japan. Now let's branch that motherfucker out. Now we have all these games, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, all this extra shit being released worldwide and shit, because now we can make money off of everybody else. We already made money off of our people. Now we're gonna make money off of everybody else, every other country. That's what people need to understand. And so what works for them may not work for us. So getting upset about a naked character in a shonen manga, like, yeah, it makes you uncomfortable. I get that. You can complain about that, but different country. It's not for you. It's for teenage kids, adolescent kids, who are probably beating their shit to that shit.
Yeah.
It's not for adults. And people in shonen is technically not for adults. The target demo is like what, 13? Like what?
Yeah.
9 to like 18, and
Yeah.
then seinen is from like 18 to like 25 or some shit. Like shonen is for teenage boys and girls.
Yeah.
It's like shoujo is for teenage girls and boys. That's how it's always been.
I love that I just randomly got an Xbox Insider notification.
That's funny. So yeah, that's my only thing when it comes to people complaining about shonen. It's like we need to stop. I wish there was a shonen where we didn't have like. I remember I saw a tweet that had like so many likes. It was just like, I wish we should have shonen that had more adults as main characters than kids. And it's just like you
got
realize-
Sakamoto Days. You
You
got
realize
fucking
that-
technically Yo's fam has an adult as a main character in Kichiro.
Yeah, I'm just like, you do realize that the target demo is for kids, right?
And
Like, you realize that kids want to put themselves in the stories, right? And the best way to do that is to have the kids their same age, right? Like, do you realize there's a reason why
Okay, but
most series-
there is a limit. There is a limit. Like I get that there needs to be more than just, and I kind of agree with that tweet. I know the one you're referencing. I kind of agree that there needs to be more adults in shonen to help fuel a plot, because you have series now that are just basically primarily kids. There used to be like a mentor or a guide or something to help push the plot along, but there really doesn't seem to be that anymore. It just seems to be heavily focused on that formula of like kids in school, or you got the kids fighting demons and no real guidance other than like.
I mean, Dr. Stone technically had that. I mean,
Right.
Well,
me and Red talked about that too. We were talking about how like, and I think that's probably one of the biggest issues I would say that someone would have with Dr. Stone, and that goes in the term of how rushed the final arc was. it was like they were going island to island, talking to full-grown adults, and the adults were like being okay with everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, like, there's no way in hell some random adult on a different island is gonna look at these kids, see that they have like stuff to revive people, and not something pop off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is unrealistic. But it's a manga. You know what I mean? So that's what
Yeah.
that particular grain of salt.
And much as it pains me to say that because of me being the big Dr. Stone fanboy that I am, I will agree with you on that. And I think that's more to do with Inagaki being absolutely dead set. It has to be 5 years, no longer.
Yeah, and see, that kind of hindered a lot of that plot because there could have been so much more conflict in that final arc, and also the fact that I know Senku's a fucking genius, I know Dr. Zeno's a fucking genius, but how do you go from building like a proto-mech to full-blown rocket science in basically a year's time?
Yeah,
you have to get some assistance or research a little bit more than you did. I realize, Zeno, NASA scientist, yada yada yada, but still, there's a lot more steps to go from one to the other there.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say as well, Inagaki was so obsessed with the number 5 in Dr. Stone. Like, in the first chapter, Taiju says, after 5 years, I'm finally going to confess, Suika was on her own for 5 years in South America. It was 5 years after
there was so much fucking foreshadowing in that series ending in 5 years, and I didn't notice it till that fucking interview. I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah, he was obsessed with the number 5 when you really look at it in Dr. Stone.
Because
he really wanted to take that vacation.
Because because one ended in what?
I think 5 years.
It was exactly 5 years.
This dude must be superstitious or some shit.
Because you want to know something else that's crazy? Because they've just released the official timeline as well for Dr. Stone. After Senku was revived to when he went to the moon, that was 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
It was two. So the original one was from 2002 to 2009. That's 5 years, right?
Yeah. It's insanity. Like you gotta stop and think for just the cultural differences here. Like to us, no,
that was 7 years.
That was a 7-year gap.
Because 2002 to 2009. That's
yeah, you're right.
That's 7 years. Longer than I thought.
But you gotta stop and think for a moment. Like our numbers that we are superstitious about are not the same as the numbers that they're superstitious about, and vice versa. For us, like 13 is technically unlucky.
For them it'd be 4.
And you want to know what's crazy? Like the whole thing with Yoha in Bleach of 999, because that's supposed to be like a superstitious bad luck number.
It's more of like a biblical number.
Yeah,
like
that's
coming up in the Bible and whatnot.
Yeah, it's funny because that's actually the emergency code in the UK.
That's really funny.
I know it is. I'm like, when I found out, I was like, so basically, in Japan, dialing 999 won't get you the emergency service. It will basically be like, there's a lot of bad luck around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
to bring it back full circle, Ultima Antigua for some reason had a bunch of like mother-in-law jokes. Like I feel like one of the writers really didn't like their mother-in-law or hadn't married from. I don't know.
Yeah,
so
like
it's just a boatload.
Yeah, and that there seem to be a lot of like little dumb jabs like that in some of their shows too, because I remember like shoehorned in humor. And I'm thinking that's just them poking fun at this particular subject that they want to get to. Like Yu-Gi-Oh was full of it too. Especially like in that Grand Festival arc where you had the Valkyries and shit. Like there was a lot of like forced humor in that one.
And you had Sherlock Holmes.
God,
there was a guy dressed up as Sherlock Holmes.
It's so stupid too, because now you have so many issues with even being able to utilize Sherlock Holmes. Like that Enola Holmes show on Netflix got paused because of the fucking estate of Doyle. But that fucking joke is like, oh, you can use it for that one, right? It like stuff like that just bugs me. But like there's that arc, fucking Battle City was really like shoehorny, but and the fucking whole Signer arc, the early Signer arc, the Dark Signer saga was really like that too. Like you would get like really cringy darkness jokes. I'm like, okay, come on now. But
The ironic like part of that is like, oh, we're gonna deal with like this evil like cult, and then one of the voice actresses is in a cult.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
didn't think that through too much, did they?
No. But I will. A couple more things I want to say quickly is going back to what Furman said about people not looking at the bigger picture. It's the same thing with like when people look at, say, One Piece has 480 million copies in circulation. People tend to think like, oh, that's how many sales it's done, when it's not. Like if you look at Phantom Seer, when it had that 100,000 copies in circulation for 2 volumes, it actually only sold like 40,000 across that board. So they had basically 60,000 copies of the 2 volumes that they couldn't get rid of.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like most of them would include like not like sales as in like, you know, person like buying it from the store, but more of like how many volumes like each store like buys.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to say really quickly is that I've got to say, without 4Kids, we wouldn't have what is possibly the biggest contributor for people actually for some people who are not anime fans, for actually discovering series like Dragon Ball and Yu-Gi-Oh, and that would be the abridged series.
Oh god, yeah, like, and see, like, that's the other one that really got me recently. So, did you guys see Lil Karibo's tweets about people bitching at him for mourning Kazuki Takahashi?
Oh yeah,
Wait,
definitely.
what?
Yeah, they basically boiled it down to Lil Karibo is not a real fan because he's not as first in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because he doesn't know like the name of every single Swordsman of Landstar card, for lack of a better word.
Pause.
Ridiculous. That's insane.
Pause.
Yeah.
They're adding Rick and Morty and LeBron James to multiverses.
Oh yeah, I saw
let's
that.
go. Let's go.
I
I'm gonna be a
retweeted
LeBron
that.
James main.
I retweeted that shot. I'm like, I'm gonna have so much fun beating this guy's ass.
So you know what this means, right? That means that Death Battle is going to have to do Sora versus LeBron James now.
Shut the fuck up, Thurman.
That's literally
Yes!
one of Sora's biggest matchups.
That'll be the only death battle I watch in my life, and I'll enjoy it.
When it comes to Sora's matchups in the death battle community,
No.
either,
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
it's either Link from Legend of Zelda,
I know.
Mario,
God.
or LeBron James. Those three.
The only death battle that I want to see 100% is Riza Hawkeye from Fullmetal Alchemist versus Stanley Snyder from Dr. Stone.
I would love that. That would be so dope. But like, but just to dial back into that, like, I don't understand that. It's like saying Team 4-Star isn't real fans of fucking Dragon Ball. Well, I don't think they are very much anymore after all the bullshit they've had to deal with. But like, you realize those series introduced another generation of fans to these fucking franchises just simply because it was different.
Was there a trailer for these already?
There was one for LeBron I saw. It was like a 30-second teaser.
Isn't the open beta already?
It's available to sign up for. But like, there's so much stupidity in that.
The roster got leaked.
Yeah, it's like when people were complaining about the actress playing one of the villains in the Obi-Wan show, to the point that even Ewan McGregor had to go on Twitter and say like...
And you see that so much now with that fucking franchise. I hate being associated with those Star Wars franchise because of it.
Which is why we need to do the toxic fandoms.
I'm going to fucking eviscerate them.
And I am going to eviscerate the
Doctor Who fandom?
No, not the Doctor Who fandom.
I think that'll be Reds.
The Doctor Who fandom, but also the reaction fandom, particularly from Renegade Media Group.
Oh Lord have mercy. mercy. This is good.
I'm going to talk about various ones, such as the good old Steven Universe fan. I know it's like died down because of the show and whatnot,
But yeah,
it was still
An hour and 30.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Like back in the day.
All right, boys. I'm happy I was
All
able
right.
to join, but I'm taking a nap before I have to pick up my girlfriend.
all right.
So, it was fun. Let me know when the next one is. Thanks for tuning in to you guys. You heard my ugly voice. I can say that because my girlfriend's not here. Just look, give me that look, so I can.
Yeah, you can get away with it right now.
Don't snitch on me.
I won't snitch on you. They might, but I won't.
All right, boys. You guys have fun.
All right, get a good nap in, bro. And we're gonna be wrapping up pretty soon anyway. But like that's the thing. Like there's some of these are on the list that are dying out, but there are also so many that really do need to have their own piece talked about, like Undertale. You know, obviously that one's dying out a little bit. Deltarune's kind of taking its place. Steven Universe, we said. The Star Wars one is always prevalent because some toxic shitlord on the internet is being said toxic shitlord. Puppet Dax, I believe his name was, just got fucking deplatformed from TikTok for being homophobic. There's a bunch of like various anime related ones that are going on there, from fucking just Dragon Ball to JJK to Demon Slayer. And I have a whole fucking list of them that Andrew and I were bouncing back and forth about. And the other one that I really think needs to be added to that one now, that I didn't fucking think would be a thing, but my tiny little brain didn't possibly think that, well, this will go nicely. I gotta say, the MCU fandom now is really becoming super toxic.
For a second, I thought you were going to say Chainsaw Man.
That'll come more when the anime airs. It's fucking inevitable. It's already kind of shitty, but it's not to the point where it really needs to be talked about. You got the barking at Anime Expo was unnecessary, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's a meme.
I think just to say this, I think the only fan base that has never been toxic, as far as I can tell, is the Dr. Stone fan base. I
haven't seen any instance of it. I'm sure somebody in the comments of either this video or that video will weigh in on it and let us know like how wrong we are. But that's the thing, like Ann Arbor nailed it earlier this week when he was kind of just saying like that every fandom has their own pockets of toxicity, and that's
True.
It's true. It's inevitable for that, and the more popular a series gets, the more toxicity that's going to come out. And that's the thing that I hate about, you know, being directly involved with so many fandoms, being part of YouTube, you know, is you have to deal with that. You have to, and I talked about this in the Chainsaw Man video, but like I had to take down 2 videos on TikTok. One of them was very, very wildly viewed because I apparently pissed off every metal elitist that existed.
How?
I know you put that on Twitter to me, and I was just thinking like, how did you do that?
I said that gatekeeping is fucking stupid.
And it is!
And apparently that ruffled the feathers of the metal community. But it's a subgenre that is built on being open and inclusive. But the more I dive into it more and more now, and being back into making music and everything, like that fucking community is so goddamn toxic from when I originally left it that I don't understand it, because it's the same as like punk. It's there for everyone, right? That's how it's always been when I've been a part of it. But now that we have the internet as prevalent as it is, and social media and everything, like you have those sides of TikTok and those sides of YouTube that are like, we got to protect this subgenre of this subgenre of this subgenre with all costs. We can't let the little babies over here because they can't handle them. Blah! I'm like, who the fuck cares? Like,
that point is like so stupid, because like as much as I love a certain property, I don't own it. I don't control who views it, who doesn't.
You've got it. You have the brain cells to fucking comprehend that. But when some 19-year-old punk is over there, quote, or duetting every TikTok you've made on the subject, you're like, okay, there comes a point where you're just like, it's easier to fucking take this down. Fuck the views. And then their community is attacking you in the comments of it because they're just there in a fucking, like, echo chamber of bullshit. I'm like, I don't have the patience nor the energy to keep up with the comments of that, and I don't want to make it look like it's there, so like I just set them to private. They don't exist on the platform, but they do. I'm like, I pick and choose my battles anymore. It's not fucking worth it. Just like dealing with Renegade Media Group with Luke the other night. I'm like, okay, this is where I stop.
Yeah, and it's where I stopped as well when they basically admitted that they have no originality.
Well,
I don't know
they're a
if they-
reaction channel. They're a reaction channel, and I don't live to stir up drama. I'm not fucking 18, 19, 20 years old and have an infinite pool of time anymore. I have a full life, a full fucking, career-ish here on YouTube or the other platforms that you're listening to this on. Twitch. My day job, I have a limited amount of time to sit around and play, battle in the fucking comments of random post number 25. So there just comes a point where, like, you gotta sit down and be like, I'm gonna be the bigger person here. Take down the video, take down the fucking, the post, or just ignore the 95 more replies that are in my fucking notification feed because,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's the internet. It doesn't fucking matter to the real world.
And I just thought of something. Like for like a podcast idea, for we get into like a more serious topic and then go to like a more relaxed one. I thought about one being like a little first impression of like a Toxic series. We just pick a random one out of the hat, like everyone or like a certain person hadn't seen already, and we watch like episode 1 and 2, or possibly 1 if you don't think nobody has enough time.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, we'll add it to the post it in the chat, and then I'll pin it in there so I can actually add it to the like Samsung note of all of the topics, so we can keep some track of it. But like there's so many ideas that we've gotten to, and that's what I love about doing these formats of videos, because we can sit and bullshit for 10 fucking hours because we have that kind of chemistry as creators and, a friend group. And then there's moments like I look back, because I've been doing like reminiscing and prepping stuff for potentially doing another channel trailer to introduce people to the second channel with Red. And like, this is the kind of content that we used to do. That's kind of what you'll have over here kind of thing. I realize like how far we've come being able to like, because sometimes it was really, really hard to sit down and focus and film a video and just go on one kind of track. And then once we started getting more comfortable and out of our shells, like you get to this point where like you allow yourself to spin off topic and kind of pivot to like this random tangent, because that is what makes this so much fun, right? Like we started with roasting 4Kids and all their dumb decisions to talking about like fandoms and everything like that. And that just makes for a more interesting video to me personally. If I'm going back through and viewing this content and trying to edit it, or trying to go through and think about like what the next topic would be, or to pivot to this point, or to go in and go to this tangent, it just makes stuff like this so much more fun. To me personally, anyway. I don't know what the viewer retention's going to be on it yet, obviously, but to me, I enjoy that more than our old, like, we gotta sit down and only talk about the chapter kind of videos. And even now, like, the newer way that we do, like, sitting and talking about the videos, and we're going to be doing this with, like, Black Clover coming up in, like, 10, 11 days. So we have, like, a bunch of, like, because you guys had kind of voted on it, the community, of, like, sitting down and putting, like, gameplay behind it instead of just, like, the random TV. We're going to try that with a couple of the first Black Clover reviews and see how those do. And versus, just the static image of the desk and everything. Because I think that having that background footage more might do better, and then we'll kind of judge it from there, with those first like 3 or 4 chapters of that final arc. And this is also because we have a Fortnite video that I had to edit that can't use the fucking audio from that because of that game's audience, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not fucking editing all of these instances of it out. I'm just cutting the whole goddamn audio track.
I mean, I play it like sometime, and that's like extraordinarily like rarely. I have no like experience with like the Fortnite community in one way or the other.
Yeah. The lobby that we were in, or the games that we got into, just turned to what you would sound like if you were at a conservative rally. So yeah, that's about all I can say as a white person. You know what I mean. So yeah, all that audio got muted, and then we'll just use that for those first few videos and see how those do. Just, to try it out, because I'd asked like 3-4 months ago if you guys would like that. Most people are like, yeah, let's give that a try. And since Thurman and I kind of have full creative control over the main channel, we'll use that instead of messing with the format for like the One Piece or the Chainsaw Man videos on that second channel. But just to kind of wrap this up, because we're hitting an hour and 45 minutes here, I think the next one that we really should focus on is finishing that boss battle, if we can, or maybe doing that State of Shonen Jump and then going on to like Zangetsu's idea. Because I do like that, is just formatting it to where it would make sense and wouldn't bring up an issue on YouTube. So we gotta toy around with that a little bit. And then we could potentially do after that Toxic Fandom one. Because I really want to dive into that Toxic Fandom one, but I want to do it on a week that I'm not super, super busy. And my next few weeks are going to be super, super busy.
Well, after next week, I've got 2 weeks off, so I'll be available then.
Okay, perfect. So we'll probably do the Toxic Fandom one then. I'll make it work. I'll make it work. How I'll make it work, I don't know yet. But I'll make it work. But I think, like, for final thoughts on 4Kids, I would love to see a renaissance of, I don't know what you would call it, but like back in the day they were kind of like YouTube poop, of like people making 4Kids like dubs of certain shows just to see how absurd they can make them, So I would love for somebody to take like the first 2 or 3 episodes of like interspecies reviewers and try to 4Kidsify it. Or
that'd be really entertaining to see.
Right? I do not personally have the talent to do any of this shit, but I would love to see somebody more talented do that. Or Jobless Reincarnation, or like the Alicization arc of Sword Art Online. Like, like what they would do with the tentacle scene with Sugua.
No, it's just a tickling machine.
Oh, I've got the perfect series for a type of video like that. Monster Musume.
Oh God, yeah. Please, somebody fucking do this.
They would just replace they would just remove all the sex scenes. It'd just be an ordinary like slice of life. I mean, not sex scenes, because the whole premise of the series is him not banging them so he doesn't get married. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, we know. Like the infamous "I'm going to lay an egg" chapter / episode.
Egg laying porno, that was hilarious.
Oh God!
Basically, yeah, it was.
Like that kind of stuff would be so much fun. Like, and like the legacy that they left, we can't pay enough respect to it. Even if we find it in hindsight, like a lot of it cringe, like just the stupid changes that they've done over the years, but it's given us a chance to get more anime here. Like if it hadn't been for them, we might not. Dragon Ball and 4Kids, the West owes a lot of debt of gratitude to, even if we don't want to admit it. Like I've had so many arguments with some of our community on Twitter about Dragon Ball. But without Dragon Ball, like even 4Kids might not have happened. It's wild to think about like the path that we've taken to get all of these shows over here, because Dragon Ball was the first one to really like hit that mainstream audience, and then 4Kids kind of started bringing like Yu-Gi-Oh and fucking everything else into the fray, and now we have sites like Crunchyroll, Funimation, all this there to kind of help guide the next batch of weeblets, essentially.
Because for the longest time, like the media was so niche that we would only get like a few like R-rated like anime like movies like OVAs,
Like
and
Wicked City.
and very sparsely like actual animated series. Like, man, I feel remembering this. Yeah, we get those like very sparsely, and it was the dubbing. Well, of course, for most of them was horrendous.
Wicked fucking City. Fucking City Hunter, stuff like that. Like, I recently rewatched City Hunter, and my God, it's so bad. Like, and that's one of the better ones from that era, too. Bubblegum Crisis, anyone remember that? I'm really fucking aging myself as well, aren't I?
I
don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
God. We're old, son, guess who?
I kind of want to rewatch it. I'm old.
Fucking the first Pokemon movie is 24 years old, and I refuse to believe that. It just had its anniversary.
It's okay. We know we're old. Like, One Piece just had its like 25th anniversary a while back. Like, what, last week?
Yeah. When do I get my AARP card? I want that senior discount, damn it.
Depending like how many years they push it back, it'll be
right. Or if it even exists when we're able to qualify for it.
I know, right? They're gonna push the goalpost so high. It's like, oh, you had to be 82. They're like, oh.
Meanwhile, my head is in a cryo jar. I finally got my 15% off at Denny's, everyone.
Wait, you're gonna meet Walt Disney? That's crazy.
Call him a fucking anti-Semite and piss on his grave. I mean, lovely human being, salt of the earth. Please don't demonetize us. Oh shit. But like, no, like, I think that's a great place to end it on. Pissing on Walt Disney's grave, everyone. I think that's a point we can all get behind here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Until the next podcast, peace, everyone.
Peace.